Okay, real talk. Who names the horror protagonist Jim?
Day 1. Unexpected guest. The car's engine purred softly as it glided along the snow-covered road, creating a rhythmic hum that harmonized with the tranquility of the winter landscape. The world outside seemed hushed and still, as if nature itself had been silenced by a blanket of pristine snow. Through the windshield, the scene unfolded like a postcard come to life. The snow-laden trees stood tall, their branches delicately adorned with glistening crystals. Each limb reached out towards the sky, as if yearning to touch the falling snowflakes. The weight of the snow bent some branches, creating graceful arches that framed the road ahead. As the car made its way through the winter wonderland, the snowscape seemed to stretch out infinitely in every direction. The vastness of the scenery was both awe-inspiring and humbling. You continued to look around in wonder from the warmth and comfort of your vehicle. For you, this is a whole new experience coming from a busy city life. The Little Cub Cabin Retreat. It was advertised as the coziest escape in the heart of Snowy Mountain Wilderness. Unplug and experience tranquility and the unforgettable views of snow-capped peaks and towering pine trees right outside your window. Why do I feel like this feels like the start of a horror movie? Like, I don't think it's a good idea to go somewhere where you're completely cut off from communication, but then again, I know some people out there who are like, oh my god, we get to like just chill out and be one with nature and not worry about our technologies. And I'm just like, yes, I see your point. But on the other hand, danger. It sounded like exactly what you needed at the time, and you immediately booked a cabin for one just for a week. You look down the directions you downloaded again. Turn onto Little Cub Trail and it's the first cabin on the left. You slow the car as you approach a sign. Some of the letters of Little Cub peek out from under the snow. You turn into the trail and your car bumps along the unpaved snowy dirt path. You look around attentively for the first cabin you see through the increasing snowfall. The wind suddenly starts whipping the snow around with fervor, and the road ahead of you quickly disappears. You feel a pang in your chest at the sight, and your breath quickens. Your eyes begin darting between the trees, looking for this damn cabin. So much for the forecast of light snow today. Hopefully you get there soon in case the snow gets worse. Finally. You had been looking forward to this getaway for a couple of weeks, and there it is. You take some time to fully take in the exterior from the safety of your car. Now, the idea of a private snowy cabin makes you lonely, relaxed, nervous, excited, unsure. You know, I'm kind of chill about it. I think I'd finally be relieved that I'm here. You rented out a cabin for a week to get away from your troubles back in reality. You could just appreciate nature and do things that you haven't been able to do in a while. There's so much you can do, like reading next to the fire or going on a hike to see some of the sites they talked about on the website. You don't remember the last time you had some quiet time to yourself. It's time to relax and rest, finally. You squint through the falling snow, tried to make out the numbers on the cabin. The snow was really starting to come down quickly, and you feel an urgency to get indoors. Snow had covered the sun, but this one looked like the picture in the booking, so you pulled onto the snow-covered path. You feel a wave of relief to have finally arrived. The drive up the mountain was like Rainbow Road, and then the snow, while beautiful, made for an even more challenging drive. Your little cabin is surrounded by trees, and there's no neighbors inside. A large stretch of wilderness ensures you plenty of privacy. You hurriedly lug your stuff out of your car up to the cabin. It's not much, just a suitcase for the week. Look at the snow. Maybe you should have packed even thicker winter clothes. The icy environment chills the delicate skin on your face. You bound up to the cabin, eager to get out of the cold.
Yeah, it's already unlocked. Is this normal for remote cabins?
As you step inside, the warmth of being out of the elements immediately greets you, but it could certainly be warmer. You set down your things by the door and quickly set about lighting a fire in the fireplace. Conveniently, there's some wood and a lighter by the hearth. You take in the cabin's interior, and it's as cozy as described, if not a bit more messy than expected.
Did they not clean up the place? There's stuff still laid out on the table.
Looks like the place hasn't been swept in a while, too. It has a lift-in feel and is ready for someone to move in. The warm glow from the hearth dancing across the rustic wooden walls and furniture was cozy and inviting. Some books are resting on the worn wooden table and shelves. You hurry over to inspect the tiny kitchenette, and you are pleasantly surprised that it's still fully stocked. Whoa, looks like mystery meat and a lot of junk food. Still, that's pretty generous of the people running this place. You had expected to get food later in town when the snow let up. It's a bit of a drive, but there is a small town with a grocery store around here. You can look more closely around the rest of the cabin later. Right now, you just wanted a warm drink. You look in the kitchen drawers and find a couple of options to choose from. All of them are of the instant drink variety, but beggars can't be choosers. What do you want to drink?
Well, if it's instant, as much as I would love a hot cocoa, an instant coffee would be nice.
You grab a packet for instant coffee. Then you find a pot and start to heat some water on the gas stove. It's been a while since you've used one of these.
Really?
You check your phone and there's no signal. You do spot a landline on the countertop if you need to call anyone. Been a while since you've seen one of these too. Another reminder of how far from civilization you are. The pot of water simmers on the stove and you pour some into a cup for your coffee. The smell of coffee fills the room, and the warmth from the cup warms your frozen hands. The window rattles suddenly, and you jump from your thoughts. The snowing from earlier has picked up into a storm now, the heavy fall of snow blurring the landscape out the window. The wind howls and rattles the windows again. The sharp, erratic burst made you flinch every time. Snow now slams against the cabin in chaotic flurries. You wonder if the windows could hold against the storm's fury. That's a bit concerning, but it's a perfect contrast to the safety of the cabin. The cabin was a small sanctuary that was holding back the icy wilderness beyond its walls. Luckily, you have food here and made it before the weather took a turn for the worse. Snowed in or not, you were planning on bunkering down here initially anyway. Just as you were starting to settle in near the hearth with your hot drink, there was a knock at the door. You snap your head towards the sound and you feel your heart racing with fear. You weren't expecting anyone, and the thought of a stranger out here in the middle of nowhere during a snowstorm sent a shiver down your spine.
Maybe it was the cabin host or someone that needed help.
You set down your drink on the table gently and look toward the door. What will you do now?
Who is it?
You try to calm your nerves while you wait for an answer, and an answer doesn't come.
I'm open the door.
You take a deep breath and make your way to the door, steeling yourself for whoever is on the other side.
Hi there.
When you open the door, you are greeted by a tall figure wearing a mask, their expression hidden. Your breath catches in your throat at the looming sight, fear threatening to overwhelm you. A biting and cold wind rushes in from the cracked open door. The unknown visitor is bundled in thick clothes and covered in snow. The huffs of their breath still show through their mask.
Hi, can I help you?
The figure says nothing, the silence somehow chilling the air further. You reflexively take a step back and grip the door's handle, ready to slam the door shut and lock it. The stranger seems to notice this and slams his hand on the door, preventing you from closing it.
At the sudden movement, you, I freeze!
Your fear takes over, and you feel your body tense up like a statue. Your eyes widen, look up at the stranger, and even your breath stops in your chest. To your horror, the stranger reaches over to grip your arm, which is still holding onto the door.
You were still too shocked to do anything.
His hands are strong, but not painful, and they anchor you firmly in place in front of him. His face is unreadable, neither angry nor amused, just unreadable. The storm outside howls louder, as if taunting you in this situation. What do you do now?
Please let me go. The stranger's grip on your arm tightens. Why? I'm being nice.
I'm afraid I can't do that.
A chill runs through you as you hear that low, cold, and menacing voice. There's a slight southern drawl to it. His words hang heavy in the air, mingling with your labored breaths and the roar of the winds. Just as you're starting to feel lightheaded, the stranger adds matter-of-factly,
especially not in this weather. There's a snowstorm. You won't survive out here alone. You won't even make it 5 minutes in the storm by the looks of you.
Huh? He suddenly lets go of you. The action is so sudden that you stumble back into the cabin's interior and the stranger takes a step in. The stranger's masked face remains unreadable as they shut the door behind them, sealing you both inside. You know, I still can't get over how much of a dude this guy looks. Like, god damn. The stranger pulls down his mask to reveal his face. You can't tell me he does not look like just some dude. He begins dusting off the snow from his clothes and goes to hang up his overcoat by the door naturally.
I'm Jim. This is my place.
You stare speechlessly at his casual statement as if he's not aware of the scare he just gave you.
What's your name?
I'm gonna tell you my name. My name is Lion.
Lion.
There's an awkward beat before he gestures for you to take a seat by the fireplace. I'm going to leave. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna sit down. You stiffly follow his suggestion and sit down in a chair with a creak. He takes off his hat and dusts off the snow before following you and taking a seat as well. You're both sitting by the hearth now. After your misunderstanding, you feel a mixture of adrenaline and embarrassment.
I'm, really sorry about before.
It's okay. It's all just a misunderstanding. You really scared me. I'm so sorry. I must have gotten turned around in the snow. Why did you knock on your own door and didn't say anything? Man, it's okay. It's all just a misunderstanding.
Yeah, but still.
You reassure him that it's really okay.
Okay.
Jim lets out a heavy sigh, but still looks apologetic. You were taken aback by the contrast of the man sitting in front of you, and your first impression of him. Besides that, you were still confused about how all this happened. Jim thinks for a moment and speaks more quietly because of self-consciousness about how his voice sounds. His voice still comes out as a low rumble.
Will you try to go to that tiny bear house?
You mean the little cub cabin? Then, yeah.
Right. You went way too far down the trail then. Probably missed it with all the snow and pines. Easy to happen when the snow gets like this.
Your face burned with embarrassment at your mistake and the whole misunderstanding. So much for a relaxing getaway. Okay, I'm going to assume that Jim has a deep voice, with a slight southern drawl, but I don't know why. I can't remember how southern drawl sounds like. Yeah, that makes sense. An awkward silence stretches between you two until Jim speaks up again.
Well, I think the storm will pass in a couple of days. You can stay here until then.
A couple of days? You sit there and process what happened. Yeah, well, thank you so much. Jim nods, a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips. As if you have a choice, but now you feel even more grateful after inconveniencing your cabin neighbor. At least he seemed to be nonchalant about the whole situation. It can get lonely out here sometimes. Haven't had company in a long time. You nod back, feeling a bit more at ease now that you know he's not some deranged stranger. If anything, you are the stranger in his house now, and yet he's being so welcoming. Jim moves to stand up and starts gesturing around the room. So, the bathroom is in the corner there. Oh, and, feel free to put your things in the spare room, over there on your right. My room's the one to your left, by the front door. It's not much, but you're safe here. Jim points to the pot on the stove next. I'll have some hot cocoa, too, after all that. Want your coffee reheated since you helped yourself to some already? You groan at any reminders of your unfortunate beginnings here. Sure, thanks. Jim gives you a curt nod and grabs your cup. Things are still pretty awkward, but it was kind of sweet that he was trying to be a good host. How about you check out your room while I reheat the drinks? You nod and grab your luggage to take to your room. The room is small, but just as cozy as the rest of the cabin, simple with its furnishings, but it's all you need. Also, like, that does not look ominous. That does not look ominous at all. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not. It's minimally decorated like the rest of his cabin, but it has a bed, a nightstand, and a lamp. And now it has a suitcase and belongings in a corner. You sit down on the bed with a creak. The bed feels impossibly soft beneath you, urging your tense muscles from earlier to uncoil. You let out a long breath, and your hands trace absentmindedly over the quilted blanket. Its fabric is worn, but comforting. What a situation. You hear the muffled clattering of Jim in the kitchen and snow battering against the walls. This was not what you had expected at all, and you wonder how it'll all go. Your coffee's ready. Jim's voice from the other room pulls you from your thoughts, and you get up to join him. Hello, Jim. You sit across from Jim as he hands you a reheated coffee. Jim cradles his own mug in his hands, savoring its warmth before taking a little sip. His posture is more relaxed, but still seems a bit shy. You get a better look at him now that things are less intense. His pale hair is damp and disheveled from the snowstorm, and he keeps it pretty long. His eyes flick to you occasionally before glancing back down at his drink. Sorry, not used to having company, I guess. What do you do? Well, would you like to talk or stay silent? That's alright. I'm quite the unexpected guest right now. What would you prefer? We could just enjoy the silence if you'd like. Oh, well, of course I don't mind not talking. But since this is a bit of a special occasion, I'd like to try talking. If that's alright with you. Yeah, I'm not really sure where to start, though. Jim looks at you expectantly. He's hopeful that you'll start a conversation. Also, like, okay, as I'm actually, like, trying to read this out, I don't know why, but I kind of want to give Jim that e-boy voice. I don't know if I can still pull it off, though. I have no idea. So, what were you doing outside just now? Just checking some traps I set out in the woods nearby. Traps? Traps for small game, like rabbits and such, mostly. Nothing in the traps today. Probably all hiding from the storm. I see. That would explain the mystery game meat in the fridge earlier. So, do you live out here all the time? He glances at you and then answers while looking into the fire. Used to be not all the time, just when I needed to get away. But now, yeah, this is where I live. His voice is steady, but there's something vulnerable in his tone, like he's not used to explaining himself. Get away from what? He seems to hesitate,
Maybe from trying to find the right words before settling on what to say. Everything. The noise, the people. It's just too much. I get that sometimes. You nodded understanding, although not to the extent that Jim is talking about. I'm sure I'd miss the city eventually. But I get it. It's why I wanted to come out here too. Just needed a break from it all sometimes. Jim's lips twitched into a faint smile, and for the first time since talking, his gaze holds yours for a while. And instead, you end up in the wrong cabin. I'm gonna laugh. Your cheeks warm as you let out a soft laugh. Yeah, not exactly the peaceful getaway I had in mind. You're surprised by the rich depth of his chuckle, despite how he tried to quiet it. It sends a pleasant warmth through you. Well, guess it's not every day you accidentally break in someone else's house. The initial tension between you is melting away as you both laugh about it. I hope you do get what you came here for. You can't help but smile at his gentle words. So, storm's pretty rough. Yeah, but should calm down in a day or two. And if you want, I can make sure you get to the right cabin then. The mountain weather can be unpredictable. One moment it's clear, then dangerous in an instant. It's snowing a bit early this year, but it's not uncommon. The snow falls hard and the wind, well, it howls like it's got something to prove. You nod along at his explanation. You weren't aware of how it was in the mountains. He lets out a soft sigh before continuing, running a hand through his messy hair. I knew the second I saw you that you were not used to this. If you don't know what you're doing and try to go out there, well, you're pretty much asking for trouble then. You notice a shift in his tone when talking about the storm. There's something protective about it. Like he's trying to prepare you, or maybe even shield you from the wildness of the mountain. Just wait it out. Don't venture out if you don't have to. The storm outside wails a bit louder for a moment, as if protesting, and Jim shifts his gaze out the window. I've been stuck in here before. You get used to it. Then, it's not so bad. You take in his words. You get the impression that he's used to navigating the chaos of the mountain, and with him, maybe you could too. So, what do you do out here? Like to be in nature and be alone. Yeah, like hiking? I hunt and fish when the weather's better. Sometimes I make stuff. There's a town a ways from here, but I mostly just keep to myself. His eyes dart nervously around, and you get the impression that he's not used to talking about himself like this. You decide not to get into that for now, for his sake, but you are curious. He seems like the type to say things when he's ready. So, you said you don't see many people around here? Yeah, to be honest, you're the first person I've really talked to in a couple of months. Other than when I'm picking up supplies in town. He awkwardly shifts in his seat and rubs the back of his neck like he's unsure of how to continue. I guess you could probably tell with how out of practice I am with all this social stuff. He gives a dry laugh, but it's not exactly a happy one. The isolation of it. It's easier this way. I've never minded being by myself. It's peaceful. Yeah, I don't generally like people, but it's been nice talking with you. His admission lingers in the air as you both take it in. You're touched by his openness and vulnerability in this moment. Well, yeah, I'm glad I could be the one you talk to. Jim smiles at this and takes another shy sip from his mug. A moment of warmth settles between you both, and you feel a bit closer. So, I'm done asking questions. You're done asking questions for now. You both finish up the rest of your drinks in silence. Jim looks at you and finally asks you a question himself. So, how are you feeling about being stuck here? He quickly looks away again, while anticipating your answer. He has a complicated look on his face. You wonder why that is. He's a hard man to read. You like it here so far, but looking forward to leaving. Can't wait to leave and get away from this guy. You would like to stay here longer? You don't want to say anything for now? I'd like to stay here longer. I actually really like it here. I could see myself spending my whole stay here, honestly. It's been nice having you as company. Well, I'll be honest too. I've been liking your company too. What I'm trying to say is, you could stay here longer if you want. But you don't gotta decide now. Maybe your feelings will change. Also, I am happy that you feel that way right now. You smile at his flustered but sincere response. You guess you'll have to see how things go. Jim looks back into the flickering embers of the fire and seems to be weighing down your response in his head. You wonder what he's thinking, but can't bring yourself to interrupt his thoughts. You ultimately look into the fire too. The dancing flames lull you into its trance as your mind wanders. The time flows as the sun disappears from the sky, and you both are left with a dying fire. At some point, you find yourself watching him. His features are softer in the firelight, warmer too than before. He looks much more friendly now that he's taken off his outerwear and is relaxing in his more casual outfit. He doesn't seem to talk much, but his voice carries a quiet intensity, like every word matters. He glances at you and catches you staring. You quickly look down at your empty mug, feeling the heat rise in your face from being caught. He doesn't say anything at first, but now you feel him observing you back. What? You're handsome. You're really handsome. As the words come out of your mouth, Jim's eyes widen for a moment. His cheeks flush a soft shade of red, and he shifts awkwardly in his seat and looks back to the fire as if it can offer him some comfort. Thanks. He clears his throat and then raises his gaze slightly up to you again. I don't really get called that a lot. There's something incredibly endearing about his genuine nervousness. But I guess I'll take it. It's very nice of you to say. He lets out a slow breath and glances at you. You're not so bad yourself, you know. Then, Jim looks into his empty mug, now cold. Well, I think I'll call it a night. Jim gets up and holds out a hand to take my empty mug from you too, trying to be a gracious host to you. You give him your cup too, and his lips curve into a small smile. He walks to the kitchen and places both your mugs in the tiny sink there with a clink. Then, Jim goes over to the hearth and puts out the rest of the fire before heading to his room. You get up and walk over to your room. You peer out to Jim, closing the door to your room. Jim lingers by his door and glances back at you. Okay, well, good night, Lion. Well, what the hello? Hello? Maybe not? But what if? What if? I'm gonna do it. Jim gives you a perplexed look. Why would you want to do that? You blush, unable to say. Hello? A little fast, aren't we? A little fast, don't you think? But sure. Huh? Jim's eyes dart around the room. Anywhere but you. That's, There are extra blankets in your room if you get too cold. What? Jim rushes away before he can say anything else. Oh, you turned to go to your room then. The door creaks as you close it all the way, and you turn towards what will be your room for the next couple of days. That was much nicer than how your first meeting started.
What do you mean? What do you... I basically just harassed Jim, and I'm like, huh, that went nicer than I thought. What do you mean? You are getting to know Jim a lot more, and you both are getting along. Your unexpected host is turning out to be a pleasant surprise. Are we just going to like pass the fact that we just did that? Are we just gonna pass the fact that we just propositioned Jim? Really? You change into your sleeping clothes and jump under the covers for warmth. The storm is still raging outside as much as it was earlier. You start to relax, and soon the storm outside starts to sound like white noise. The events of the day are taking their toll on you. Before you arrived, you were feeling relaxed. Now, after everything that has happened, you feel, attraction, grateful, hopeful, embarrassed, wary, unsure. Attraction. Honestly, you're attracted to Jim. He has been not what you expected, and you're looking forward to learning more about him. As you think about how you feel, you drift off to sleep, wondering what the rest of the week has in store for you. The darkness takes you, and you dream of being deep in the mountains. The air is viscous, thick with the scent of the old blood. From the abyss, a pair of gold, moon-like eyes glow from a towering figure. The shadows move, too fluid, too silent, just beyond your grasp. The trees scream, the ground heaves, and then the sound, low, guttural, laughing. Its voice is not a sound, but a vibration, the hum of a wasp nest, the groan of a noose tightening. You are such a delicate thing, a rabbit to my altar. You are the perfect sacrifice. Your breath comes fast, not with fear, but rapture. You seem to recognize something. To be known is to press your rotting heart against something equally ruined. See how we match? You barely even notice when the gnarled roots from below wrap around your leg lovingly. The forest, it screams to you. The one who dreams the wolves. And then darkness reaches for you. The voice calls out to you once more. I'll let the whelp have you, just for a little while. Okay. Day 2, the carving. Huh. You are marked now. The storm listens. The trees remember. You wake with a gasp, the remnants of the dream clinging to you like frost. Moonlit eyes burned into yours from the shadows of the pines. Something that knew your name with a voice like cracking ice. Unconsciously, your fingers buried into the quilt, your pulse hammering like a trapped thing. Morning light seeps through the frosted windows. You wake to the sound of the gas stove clicking on and the flash of the flames. Jim is awake, moving through the cabin with the creaks of floorboards under his careful steps. The bedroom door squeaks as you step out. Jim keeps his back to you, fingers fumbling with the coffee tin like it's the most fascinating thing in the world. You're finally awake. Hello, Skyrim reference. You sit down at the table. Jim sets a chipped mug on the table and joins you. Steam curls from it, ghostly in the cold air. He doesn't speak. The silence stretches, taut as a tripwire. Lion, it's, for you. Jim pushes the mug towards you, an offering. His eyes dart around the room, a nervous habit you're beginning to recognize. I'ma take the mug. The drink inside is coffee, hot and fragrant, exactly as you like it. The scent wraps around you, warm and familiar. You hadn't realized how thirsty you were until now. Jim watches you intently. Get a drink. You take a sip from the mug, and it's good. Really good. You drink a big gulp before you even realize it.
Jim's shoulders unclench, just a fraction. I'm glad you like it. Jim's posture softens. He watches you with something like gratitude, his fingers tapping an absent rhythm against the table. The steam from your mug curls between you like a disorienting fog. Jim watches, not the drink, not your hands, but the space where your lips will meet the rim. The silence stretches, charged with something unspoken. The warmth of your drink spreads through your chest, familiar and comforting. Is it good? How's the temperature? It's perfect, actually. With pride barely hidden, a flicker of satisfaction crosses his face. He leans back in his chair, fingers drumming once against the table. I remembered how you take it. Before you know it, you've drank it all. Jim holds out his hand to take your mug and you oblige. Then he busies himself with taking your mugs to the sink, but you catch the way his thumb rubs over the spot your lips just touched. You must be hungry. I'll make you some food to go with your drink. He crouches down and pulls out a cooler from under the sink. You think you hear the click of a lock, but you can't see past Jim's form. He places some ingredients on the counter. Flour, potatoes, onions, eggs, and toast. It's, not too fancy, but it'll do. Jim moves with quiet efficiency at the stove as he layers ingredients into a cast iron pan. I'm gonna help. You step beside him, reaching for a knife to chop vegetables. Jim's hand catches yours, not to stop you, but to guide your grip. Knife sharper than it looks. Here. He adjusts your fingers, his palm warm against yours. Smaller cuts. They'll cook even. You work in comfortable silence, shoulders brushing occasionally. When the meal is ready, he plates it carefully, nudging the best portions towards your side. His boot knocks slightly against yours under the table, a tiny grounding touch. We make a good team. The food is simple but perfect. Fluffy eggs, crispy potatoes, pancakes, toast slathered in some sort of jam. Jim left a jar of preserves open on the table for you, wafting a sweet scent to you, in case you wanted more. Your stomach grumbles loudly at the sight and smell. Good. You have an appetite. Come on. Dig in. He doesn't eat until you do. His gaze never leaves your face. Jim watches you take the first bite, his fingers drumming the table until you nod approval. The pancakes are just sweet enough. The preserves taste like blackberries and something darker. Iron? Nah, it's just your imagination. It's not like he'll put actual blood in the jam. The food is delicious, but leaves you oddly drowsy. He smiles, watching you eat and noting how you feel from the look on your face. Good food will make you sleepy, huh? His voice is light, but his fingers quickly tap the table twice, like he's counting. Halfway through, he pushes the mug towards you. Try this. Before you realize it, you take a sip of his spiced tea, and it's just sweet enough. When you hand it back, his thumb brushes against the place where your lips touched. Both of you finish up quickly, and Jim takes your plate to the sink. As he's washing up, Jim hums. The tune is unfamiliar, oddly rhythmic. You've never heard it before. Almost like a lullaby, or a chant. When Jim notices your attention, he stops abruptly and turns away. It's, just a song from my childhood. Jim pauses at the sink, looking out the window. The storm still rages, but he has a serene look on his face. Could get used to this. The fireplace crackles as Jim moves to kneel by the hearth, rearranging logs with unnecessary focus. His sleeves are rolled up slightly as he works. Pale scars peek underneath the fabric. When he notices you watching, he smiles, but his fingers twitch like he's counting something under his breath. Not much to do indoors, I'm afraid. Never really had guests before. Just me and the quiet. The firelight catches the edges of the wolf carvings on the mantel. I've got books and a puzzle if you like. Could make do.
Ooh. Haha. Puzzle sounds nice, or I'd rather just talk. Yeah, puzzle sounds nice, actually. Jim produces a dusty puzzle box from a cabinet and directs you to the table. No minigame? God damn it. The pieces are worn. The image on the box faded. A snow-laden forest. The trees too familiar. The shadows between them too deep. Found this in the cellar. I'd be missing a few pieces. He spreads the pieces across the table and then settles beside you. Close, but not quite touching. The puzzle is old, with some edges frayed, others darkened with age or something else. At first, it's easy. Border pieces first, then the cabin emerges. Crooked chimney, claw marks on the door. As fire crackles, the puzzle takes shape. A cabin, a wolf, a figure standing at the tree line. Jim's fingers move with surprising precision, slotting pieces into place before you even find their match. He doesn't look at the box. He doesn't need to. Funny how things fit together when you know where they belong. At one point, his knee brushes yours. He doesn't pull away. It's warm, deliberate. The puzzle grows. A wolf at the tree line, golden eyes gleaming even in the dim light. Then, the figure, a silhouette, standing just beyond the cabin's reach. Their hand is outstretched, holding nothing. The piece is missing. You look at the table, but there's nothing left. The figure's hand is empty. A void. That's too bad. The figure in the puzzle is holding something. A flower? A knife? But the piece is gone. You ask if he knows what it is while squinting at the missing figure's hand. Not sure. Don't remember. His thumb brushes the empty space where the piece should be before leaning over to grab your hand. His gaze lowers to find yours, full of unspoken meaning. Guess some things stay lost. You've done this before? Lean into his touch. Have you done this before? Jim's smile falters, and then his thumb idly presses on your wrist, making your pulse jump. I had a lot of time to practice. Nights get long when you're waiting. Jim releases your hand. His fingers uncurl slowly, as if resisting the separation. For a moment, his palm hovers like he might reach back, but then he exhales, flexing his hands as if shaking off a thought. Jim studies the puzzle, lips pressed thin, before pushing back from the table to get the puzzle's box. Maybe that missing piece will turn up later. His gaze lingers on the empty space where the last piece should be. Then he carefully gathers the incomplete puzzle and puts it back in its box. He stands, stretching with forced casualness. Let's see. Anything else? Do you have any novels? Jim's smile flickers as he goes over to a small bookcase. He runs a finger along the bookshelf, hesitating over titles like Folk Remedies of the Valley and Surviving the Wilds. Most of these are not exactly light reading. He plucks a battered novel with a pressed flower bookmark. But, this one's okay. Romance. Well, sort of. He hands you the book and the flower to look at. The flower feels a bit chilly in your hand. Is it your imagination? The cover is faded, but you catch the title, The Hare and the Hollow. You flip it open to chapter 12, The First Snow. There are handwritten notes crowding the margins. Vespera had always been told that the Hollow was a cursed, evil place. She shivered as the memories returned to her like a vision. When they first met, the villagers whispered of it in hushed tones, their voices tinged with something between reverence and fear. They said the trees there grew crooked, and the weight of the secrets they'd swallowed, and their roots tangled around the bones of things best left unspoken. But when she stumbled upon Bjorn in the deep heart of the hollow, his dark coat dusted the snow, his hands cupped around a wounded hare, she wondered if the woods had been waiting for her after all. Don't trust. What's this about not trusting the moon? Hello? Should I be concerned?
Jim sees what you're looking at and reaches to take it back, flustered. Maybe not that one. How about you pick something yourself? You approach the small sparse bookcase and read the titles as you run your fingers along the spines. Wilderness survival, edible plants, history of knot tying. Seriously? Your fingers pause on a worn leather spine tucked between two larger volumes. It doesn't have a title. When you reach for the untitled book, Jim's breath hitches. Then he laughs too loud. That's just my weatherlock. Terrible handwriting. Here. He snatches a battered poetry collection from the shelf, thumbing to a random page. I like this poetry book. Let's see. His voice moves to a reverent murmur as he reads. The moon's bride forgets their name, their fingers rooted in his ribs. What is with his fixation with the moon? He stops abruptly, snapping the book shut. The fire pops. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Maybe let's do something else. The poetry book lies forgotten between you, and you suddenly realize that the pressed flower bookmark is still in your palm. It feels oddly cool against your skin. Jim catches you looking at the flower and gazes at you expectantly. Do I? I don't know what's the right answer. I keep it. I return. I feel like it makes more sense for me to return it, though. Like, it would be like I'm giving him a flower, even though it's his in the first place. And I could get some answers about it. Yeah, I return it. Yeah. You decide to offer it back to him with a shrug. You hold it out to him, and Jim's smile falls. God, okay, fine. I'm rolling it back to keep the flower. I will keep the flower. Are you happy now? You press the petal into your palm, its coolness seeping into your skin, like ink in water. The veins beneath your wrist darken for a fleeting second, or was it a trick of the light? You gently tuck it in your pocket. Jim's breath stills. He leans forward, voice feather-light but intent. Why did you keep it? His gaze fixes on your pocket where the flower sits. Did it feel like it was yours? It feels familiar. Jim's pupils dilate. He exhales through his nose, slowly, like he's savoring the moment. Why do I feel like I'm heading down a very dark route? I feel like I made a massive mistake there. But it wouldn't have been as interesting as if I had returned it. Knew it. He laughs, and it is raw, relieved. Then he reaches out, almost touching the petal in your pocket, but pulls back. Things find their way where they're needed, even here. You absentmindedly touch the flower in your pocket, yet a chill lingers on your palm. What now? Let's talk. Jim freezes for a beat, then laughs, a strained, breathy sound. You both go to sit by the fireplace. He sits too close, knees bumping yours. Talk, right? Sure. What about? He toys with his sleeve, tugging it down, as he thinks about what to say next. You ask about the carvings. Jim's shoulders relax too much as he lifts the large wolf from the mantel. He runs a thumb along the wolf's spine, where the grain splits like an old wound. Started whittling after I left home. Kept my hands busy. Funny thing, the wood carries a lot of memories. He leans in and hands it to you, pressing the carving into your palm. His fingers linger, too warm. Tell me something you remember. Doesn't matter what. Something true. His thumb presses your wrist. For a second, the pulse you feel isn't yours. Remember running away once. Had a nightmare last night. Don't remember much. Had a dog like this once. I remember running away once. Jim's grip tightens, just for a second, before he forces a chuckle. Bet you got far, didn't you? Real far. His thumb traces the veins in your wrist, following their path like a map. Storm's different out here, though. Roads vanish, trees move. Easy to get turned around. He seems to catch himself, clearing his throat awkwardly. His fingers finally uncurled around your wrist as he got up. Anything else you want to do? Damn. Nothing else? I'm curious about what happens if we, mention the nightmare, though. Let's roll it back. I had a nightmare last night. Jim goes very still. The shadows behind him sway. I'm sorry about that. But dreams can just be dreams, not real. Jim's expression softens. His thumb traces your wrist like he's counting your pulse. Sometimes, though, I think dreams are doors. You ought to be careful what you invite in. He seems to catch himself, clearing his throat awkwardly. His fingers finally uncurled around your wrist as he got up. Anything else you want to do? I guess we'll just go back to the room now. I'm gonna stick with the nightmare. You mentioned heading to your room, and Jim stills, thinking. Jim smiles, satisfied with how you've spent your day. He leans back, remembering all the things you've done together with a slow, cat-like satisfaction. Knew you'd be good at this. Knew it. Guess we've done all I could think of for now. I'll come get you when it's dinner time. Get some rest for now. You head back to your room for now, the door clicking closed behind you. The sound is soft, final. You sit on the edge of the bed, the weight of the day pressing into your shoulders like hands. You stare out the frost-veined glass. The storm still rages, snow piling in drifts against the pane. Your breath fogs the cold surface. Your breath evens out, fogging the glass in rhythmic pulses. Without realizing it, you trace the same looping pattern Jim uses to stir his coffee into the glass. You were feeling more accepting of your situation, or maybe resigned is a better word. The snow no longer feels threatening, just inevitable, like the turn of seasons. Think about what you've seen. The wind howls outside as you lie stiffly beneath the quilt, staring at the ceiling. You reflect on what you've seen today, the first day staying in the cabin with Jim. Your palm tingles where the petals touched you, a phantom chill that won't fade. You press your hand to the mattress, but the cold lingers like a brand. That flower was too cold, too perfect. Jim's voice, low and satisfied, replays in your skull. The flower rests heavy in your pocket, its unnatural chill seeping through the fabric. Perhaps it's just a chilly draft. You could still picture the way the puzzled pieces had fit together under Jim's sure hands. The shadow of the cabin, the lurking wolf with its golden eyes, the figure at the tree line. But the piece it held had been missing. Now, in the quiet of your room, the memory nagged at you. He's been a surprisingly attentive host in his own way. The breakfast was hearty. He remembers the little things, the way you take your coffee. There's something almost comforting in the way he moves, like he's memorized the shape of his solitude and simply lets you step inside it. Jim's still careful with his words and still watches you a little too closely, but there's no denying it. You've gotten closer today. The shadows stretch over your room, and you begin to wonder if it's evening time yet. Jim hasn't come to get you, but the hunger in your stomach pulls you out of bed. When you get up, you notice the door is slightly ajar. You could have sworn that he had closed it. The storm had trapped you both inside for another day. The wind howls through the cracks in the cabin walls, but Jim seems almost content. He sits at the table, small knife in hand, whittling away at a block of oak. His movements are careful and precise, like a man performing a sacred rite. He doesn't look at you, but you catch the way his fingers linger over the wood, shaping it with something like reverence.
Well, what you making there? Jim jolts to your presence and nearly nicks himself.
Lion, I didn't realize you were there.
Ah, it's a carving of a rabbit.
A small, fragile thing, ears folded back, body coiled as if ready to flee. When the carving is finished, Jim hesitates. His thumb brushes over the creature's back, passing over its form. With a twitch of his lips, he seems to decide to pick up his knife again and whittles away quickly. He carves a small hole through its heart, threads it into a leather cord, and ties it around your neck without asking. His fingers linger too long on your pulse, which jumps at his touch. So, you remember. His voice is a gentle murmur with something dangerously close to tenderness. Even when I'm not around. Accepted and wear it. You trace the carving with your fingertips, and you want it around your throat. Your hand slowly curls around the necklace that Jim places on you with acceptance. The first thing you notice is that the cord around your neck is tight, a collar disguised as jewelry. The thin leather knotted snug around your throat. It's not enough to choke, but enough that you always feel it there. The wood is smooth, almost too delicate, like it might splinter if gripped too hard. Jim's eyes burn in the dim light at the sight of you, breath shallow. I knew it would suit you. He shifts closer, his knee brushing yours as he reaches out to adjust the carving. His touch lingers, warm, calloused fingers tracing the curve of the carving's back alongside your skin. Fits you better than I thought it would. There's a weight to the words, something deeper than just the carving. He starts pacing around the room, looking at the fire, peering at the walls. He's stalling. You can tell by the way his shoulders stay tense, the way his gaze keeps flicking back to you. Finally, he exhales, running a hand through his hair. I'll have to make you more things if you like it. When he starts to retreat to his room, his steps are lighter than usual. But food! Food! That's what I came out here for! Food! I'll see you soon. Good night. But my food! Jim! Jim! He strides into his room without another word. With nothing else to do, you also head back to your room. I'm gonna starve because of you! The bed creaks as you settle in. The blanket's too stiff, the air too still. You try to sleep, but it comes in shallow waves. Of course you're gonna have trouble sleeping. You're hungry! Each time you start to drift to sleep, the shadows at the edges of the room seem to shift just slightly. I'm hallucinating already, Jim! This is your fault! A thud, a muffled curse, the creak of floorboards bearing weight. The cabin is too quiet for the sound to be anything but deliberate. You sit up. A sliver of light bleeds under your door. Someone's still awake. Oh, now you're gonna eat, huh, Jim? Huh? Without me? If you wanted me to leave so badly, you could have just said so. You are drawn to the noise and venture out of your room. Night falls heavy over the cabin, the fire reduced to embers. The wind has quieted, but the silence is worse, thick with unsaid words. Jim stands by the window, his back to you, fingers absently tracing the edge of the wood-carving knife. You can see the tension in his shoulders, the way his breath fogs the glass in uneven bursts. He knows you're watching. He always knows. Jim? A shudder runs through him when you call out to him. For a long moment, he doesn't move. Then, slowly, he sets the carving knife away and turns to face you. Well, I thought I wasn't going to be seeing your face. I thought it was going to be something horrifying. When Jim turns to face you, the moonlight paints his face in blue and shadow, his eyes dark and unreadable. There's something raw in his expression, something hungry and hesitant all at once. Is he a cannibal? Is that a twist? Or does it have something to do with the outer gods? Couldn't sleep. But You should be asleep. His voice is rough, raw. Well, couldn't sleep either. You stare back at him, simply, and he tenses. The air between you is charged, electric, and then I hump his leg. He swallows hard, his gaze flickering to your lips, then away, like he's afraid of what he might do if he looks too long. Kiss me! A look of frustration flashes across his face. But Jim breaks at your command and closes the distance. In one swift motion, his lips are on yours, his hand gripping your hips hard enough to bruise. The kiss is fierce, all teeth and desperation. He nips at your lower lip, his breath hot against your skin. When you gasp, he groans, pressing closer, like he wants to melt into you. Mine. It's not a request. It's a claim. He doesn't let go, his forehead pressed to yours as he struggles to steady his breathing. He struggles to say something, but swallows it instead. Jim suddenly pulls away from you, like he's been touched by fire. I have to go. He begins grabbing his heavy winter clothes and heads for the door. You reach out to it, but it gives you a dangerous look. Don't follow me. He leaves the cabin, the door slamming behind him. The door clicks shut behind him, and there's a beat of silence. Then the unmistakable click of a lock engaging. Oh, now you locked the door! I didn't even get to eat anything yet! God damn it! Jim, I'm gonna burn your cabin down! Look out the window. Through the window, you see Jim's retreating figure, his shoulders hunched against the wind and snow. It looks like he's holding something. He doesn't look back. Look at the door. It's a double-sided deadbolt. Jim has locked you in the cabin for the night. Follow? I follow. You're reaching for the door before you realize it. The handle is cold under your palm, the metal biting into your skin as you twist it. It doesn't budge. Pound on the door. You rattle it harder, throwing your weight against the wood. Nothing. The door doesn't even shake in its frame. It's solid, stubborn, like the trees outside that have spent decades digging their roots deep into the earth. I'll just go back to bed. There ain't nothing to worry about. There ain't nothing to worry about at all. You hear a distant axe hitting wood outside, over and over and over. The night stretches on, and Jim's touch lingers like a brand. And Jim seems to have no intention of returning tonight. With nothing else to do, you head back to your room. You lay back down in your bed, filled with thoughts of Jim, but your eyes grow heavy with sleep. The storm murmurs against the windows, a lullaby of wind and creaking wood. You drift into sleep, and the dream comes like a whisper. Well, shit. You stand in a cathedral of snow-laden trees, their branches clawing at a sky as deep as oblivion. The air smells of frost and something older, moss, blood, burnt sugar. The carving around your neck tightens and drives you forward. Before you is a path of white flowers, like piles of snowfall. Their silver veins pulse in time with your heartbeat. One brushes your ankle, familiar, possessive. You don't recall their name, yet your tongue forms the shape of it anyway. Moon petals. Is that what they're called? How do you know? There are wolf tracks, deep, deliberate. They lead you forward without a choice, the trees seemingly curving into you, pulling you in. Something moves in the dark, not a wolf, not a man, a shape with too many joints, its shadow stretching further than the light would allow. And those eyes, they glow impossibly bright, drinking up the shadows. A voice hums. Jim's voice? No, deeper. It curls through the trees in fragments. What do you have there? Rabbit. Your palm grows heavy. You unclench your fist to reveal. It's a moon petal, now fully bloomed. Its center is a perfect black pupil. Its mouth doesn't move. The words bloom from behind your ribs. The cage. It's beautiful because it was built for you. Won't you sing for him? The figure laughs, and the sound is Jim's, warped, delighted. The flower roots into your skin. It doesn't hurt. That's worse. Stay a little longer. I've been starved for you for so long.
Oh, that's the end of day 2. Oh shit. Anyway, that was day 1 and 2 of Killing Devotion. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this for yourselves, link to the game will be in the description below. We will be back once day 3 is released, and I'm seriously curious as to what is invading our dreams. What is Jim hiding from us? Like, there is so much going on for this, and I don't think it's your usual Yandere story. I think there's so much more going on behind the scenes, and I am so excited to see where the story is going to go from here. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of the day, and as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.